So, hi, Kathy. How are
Hi,
you
Liz.
today?
I'm fine. I'm getting into a holiday mood.
Yes, I had to look for something red, so it doesn't really qualify, but it's the best I could do on short notice. So
Yeah, I decided to go agnostic, but
that's good too. We're going to cover all the bases.
okay.
So we're here today, everybody, to talk about getting you all ready for the holiday season and the gift of giving art. So we are going to go through some statistics and some fun facts about how close things are and how fast this year has gone by, which is not meant to freak anybody out, but we really think that the timeline of holiday this year is crucial to being prepared, and that we are going to provide all of this information on a recording when we're done. We're going to have a full PowerPoint presentation for you guys, which you'll just see a little bit of while we're talking. And then we're going to add a calendar. And maybe you don't need this, and maybe you're totally set and you've got everything mapped out already, and that's awesome. Then you're far ahead of me. But maybe you'll pick up a few tips and tricks and, like I said, some fun facts about how the pacing of the holiday is going to go this year and what may be a little bit different based on the world that we're living in now versus where we were this time last year. So to start with, it's 73 days until Christmas. It's 58 days until Hanukkah. So whereas we normally would say that the gift giving, the actual purchasing really starts the first half of November, we're anticipating that, given the fact that everyone is much more accustomed to shopping online than they normally are, that timetable may be moved up. This is going to be a holiday season like we've never seen before, obviously. Traditionally, 30% of the entire retail year business happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And depending on where Thanksgiving falls, that's normally between 26 and 28 or 29 days, given the changes in the calendar. This year, like I said, I really think that people are shopping online so much that they're already starting to look and do research. Kind of a fun fact, when people purchase in October, the tendency is buy one for them and buy one for me. So a lot of self-purchasing happens early, and then when people realize they don't have things checked off their list, then they get really serious toward the second half of November, and certainly Black Friday and Cyber Monday are always big, and we anticipate that the online sales will be even bigger this year. So what does that mean for us, Kathy?
It means I'm panicked now. Thank you. That was great, Liz. Um, well, we have some ideas for how to get yourself unpanicked and get yourself organized and how to go forward. So we're going to go through a little checklist of things you can be doing now to get yourself feeling under control. And the first thing on that checklist is to create a timeline. So that would mean adding a calendar for, do you want to map out your teasers? You want to talk about previews, launches, promotions, sales, virtual events. Liz might have more to flush out on what apps you can use or technically what you should be doing about that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about before, there are a lot of different ways to plan out how you're going to do your posting. And I guess the reason for all of the statistics at the beginning is really to set yourself up so that you are doing your previews and your teasers. And if you want to do a contest, or if you want to do some kind of a sale event or virtual auction or a studio tour, or any of those things that you have in mind, doing that when the most eyes are on you that have not yet made their purchase decisions. So that means starting really any minute.
Now.
Right now.
Yesterday.
As soon as you get off the computer. And some people have already started to do it. So purchase decisions are, you think of it now as you're planting seeds. So you're planting seeds, not just for holiday purchasing, but for developing your customer base and loyalty with your clients ongoing. So planting seeds for holiday might be showing what you're making right now, and a preview of, if I were really organized, I would, like last year, I did ceramic luminaries, and with holly designs, and they were red and green. That's a little on the nose. I mean, it doesn't have to be that Christmassy, but for what I was doing and where I was selling last year, that was a big thing. So I was doing previews of the making process leading up to Maker's Market last year, so that everybody knew I was going to have green and white and red luminaries, and that I was going to have vases that were red, so all of that was happening to give everybody the idea of, this is coming. That might be a fun gift.
I'm going to interrupt to say, don't underestimate the value of previews and work in progress. People love to see, the whole evolution of your work. And not only do they enjoy it, but it helps get them attached to an item. It helps to create incentive and excitement. And especially if you're not doing selling in person, this is the way to create a relationship with your customer and that product. So yeah, I mean, be documenting everything you're doing along the way so that you can share that.
Yeah, and if you can manage to be super organized and show the things that you're working on and have a for sale date, like, here's what I'm working on, this is what I'm expecting, this is how many I'm expecting to make, and they will be live on my website on November 1st, or they will be live previewed on Instagram on November 5th, or whatever. Build up to having something that's about to go on sale creates that sense of urgency, makes people mark their calendar and say, oh yeah, my mom would love that, and my neighbor would love that, and that I'm going to go on that day and buy 2 of those. So anytime you can create that call to action is awesome.
Yeah, and I think back to the original what this the step 1 is, like, literally, if you can find a calendar app or even a handwritten calendar where you have literally written in, I'm going to post about this on Mondays, and I'm going to do this on Fridays. And again, they say it's more important that you're consistent than it is that you do it every day, or how, the frequency is less important than being consistent. So if you only are going to do it once a week, that's fine. Just do it once a week. But if you have the ability to really think ahead and plot what the next couple of months look like, that could be a real help.
Yeah.
Right.
And when we do our little post-production, I will add to whatever we're presenting to you here, links and some suggestions. No sales pitches, because everybody has to find their own app that works for them. It's sort of like buying somebody else a wallet. You just can't do it. You have to play with all the gadgets and the features to make sure that it fits you. But there are lots of things out there, and a lot of them have a free version, so it's not a giant investment.
Yeah, that would be great if you can give everybody the resources.
Yeah.
Let's move to number 2.
Okay.
And we probably don't need to spend a lot of time on this.
No, sales projections. It's basically just about assessing what you have in inventory, what you think that you're going to be able to make and have done. Going back to that scary, 73 days before Christmas, 58 days before Hanukkah. Make yourself, in your timeline in this calendar that we're talking about, back out shipping. So if you take out the days of Thanksgiving and you take out however many days it's going to take to be delivered, for anything that's not local that you can deliver on their doorstep or they can come and pick up, you got to give yourself at least 10 days out to be safe, to make sure that it gets there in time. Given what we're anticipating will be an increase in shipping, and who knows what's going on with the Postal Service and all the other factors that are going on right now. Just be really safe in terms of giving yourself plenty of leeway to get the purchase to the person. and make sure that you're surprising and delighting them by having it be there soon. So this is a good opportunity to go back and look at inventory that you have that's existing that you might want to do something fun with. Remember, the number of people that are going to remember that you showed that whatever it was 18 months ago, it's insignificant. Or zero, maybe zero. maybe your best friend or your mom or me. But other than that, nobody's going to remember. And it doesn't make it any less valid in terms of it being a beautiful piece of art to sell. So look at everything. Look at if there's something that you really want to get rid of that can be what in the retail world we call a loss leader. Maybe you do a fun like pre-holiday sale and you move through some of those things at a slightly discounted price, or a gift with purchase, or a buy one get one half off kind of situation, if you really have a stockpile of things you just like to not ever see again. Doesn't mean somebody else isn't going to love them.
Yeah. So number 3 is one that Liz and I feel very strongly about, and also feel very strongly that we're not good at that, but it's do one thing well. Oh my goodness. I mean, the most successful people I see out there are people who really understand what they do well, what their customers want, and they stay in their lane and they just keep building and building and growing. So this is the copy here is focus on your best sellers and clear messaging.
Yes. And this is definitely a do as we say, not as we do situation. So don't look at us as the example of a great job at doing this, but I'm sure there are people that you follow on social media that you immediately recognize when their work pops up, or when a post pops up, or when you get their newsletter, you say, wow, they are really on point. So,
I mean, I'll take as an example one of our members, Andrea Natkin. Oh
yes.
my God, it's like she does these ceramics. They're all very graphic, black and white. There is no way to confuse her work with anybody else's. It really pops, and you just know exactly what she's about. So there's an example of somebody who doing one thing well.
Yeah.
Which leads into build a strong brand.
Yes. So we've talked about this a lot on our other social media Zoom sessions, but I just want to emphasize it because at holiday, you're going to see more eyes are going to see your posts and your work and you and your story and your narrative than at any other time of the year. So as much as there's a temptation to veer off in a million different directions and do crazy fun things, remember that all of those eyes are on you and a lot of them are new. And you want to make sure that your brand story resonates with all of those new people because you want them to become loyal fans. So don't lose sight of, don't change your color palette suddenly. Don't change your logo. Don't change your style of writing. Doesn't mean that you can't tweak it so that it's fun and festive, but don't veer too far off into like this is what I look like at holiday and never ever again.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. So this is timely. Get your prices right from the start. And it just so happens that we have a professional development coming up that is about pricing your work. So assuming that this gets posted before that professional development, be sure that you come to that professional development. What's the date on that?
The 22nd from 4 to 5 p.m. and Zoom session with Shannon Cahill and Jacqueline Henderson from Art and Object. Look them up. They're an art consulting agency. They know Evanston and the surrounding area inside and out. They have great and loyal following and a lot of expertise. So we're excited to hear from them.
So that's definitely something to check out. But in the meantime, here's a couple of other things to consider. Most people purchase gifts by a price point, right? When you're going to get somebody a gift, in your head, you have a price range that you're thinking of. So in the same sense that when you're selling real estate and people search for real estate at, 500 and above, 500 to a million, or, 100 to 150, think in terms of what ballpark you want your price points to be in. And you can have stuff that's in different ranges, but instead of just like looking at your product and saying, oh, that looks like $75 to me, think about, my customer, what price range they're going to be looking for when they look for an item like this, and try to like sit comfortably in there.
And make
Liz?
it clear. Don't hide the price. We
Yeah.
used to do at my old company, we did a lot of research, and one of the biggest customer complaints was that they had to search for the price, and it made them feel like we assumed they couldn't afford it because they had to ask. So
There's no such thing as being coy when you're trying to sell online.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
it doesn't
free,
work.
so tell them the price.
Yeah, it doesn't work. You need to give people the facts so that they can, make quick decisions. And as Liz mentioned, that a lot of self-purchasing happens in October. So, that's a great thing to try to take advantage of, that people are interested. At that point, they're feeling a little bit, loose and buying things for themselves too.
Yeah.
So now this is something that I feel strongly about, is write great titles and descriptions. Not everybody's comfortable writing, but to the best that you can, I think it's great if you can tell a story with your work, either a story about, the work as a whole, how you came to it, what personal connection brought you to this work. In my case, I've been doing some paintings that were based on travel photos over the past 20 years. And so when I posted them on my website, I literally told the story of where the photo came from and what trip it was and blah, 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 and it just making a more personal connection to that piece of art. So, you don't need to go that far, but like I said, if it's not for an individual item, at least if you could sort of tell a story regarding the overall view of your work, it really helps. And descriptions are so important. If you're selling online, you cannot give enough information.
Right.
You need to give all the dimensions. That means, if it's a painting, it's not just width and length, it's also depth. If you can take pictures of the back of that painting as well as a side view of that painting, let them see how thick it is. If you can show them a picture of it in a room so they can get an idea of scale and, and how it pops or not. That goes for ceramics, and that goes for jewelry. You just want to show them every which way. If you have fun packaging, definitely take a picture of your packaging, of your branding. Let them know how it's going to arrive and that it's going to be a charming gift for whoever they give it to. So you really cannot do too much.
Yes, and along those lines of the packaging, it's not on our checklist, and I'm just looking at it because it should be. It is really, and everybody I think has had this experience. When you get something that you are excited that you're receiving, and you get it and it's wrapped beautifully, and there's a handwritten note, and there's a cute little sticker, and it's obvious that the person really cared about the product and cared about the purchaser and made it look really special. That's what it's not a expression that we made up, but it's what we call surprise and delight. And it's
as opposed to shock and awe.
Pardon?
As opposed to shock and awe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, which can be okay too. Yes, so surprise and delight are the things, those little extras that maybe you're making something, and I don't know, use an example that maybe you're doing works on paper and you had a piece that didn't go anywhere, and so you made a gift tag of your rejected art so that they already had a gift tag to attach to their package, and it was included with that. Or I used to order jewelry from this maker, and she always had a piece of dried lavender tied in the ribbon. I mean, it's a silly little
I love
thing
that.
when you say it out loud. And it's certainly not a make or break moment, but it's the kind of thing that builds long-term loyalty. And you don't want this just to be a one-time purchase at holiday. You want this person to be so thrilled, or the person that they're giving the gift to be so thrilled that they tell all their friends and they talk about you. And the good news, bad news is that when somebody has a really good experience, they tell 10 people. If they have a really bad experience, they tell 50. So we have to work that much harder to make it really so memorable that people talk about the gift that they received.
And one last point. The reason people are going to buy your piece is because they want to support individual artists. They could go to a big store. They could go and get something mass produced. They want something that is unique and handcrafted. So it is in your best interest to continue to, promote that thing that you have going for you by packaging your work in a manner that, continues to say, I am an artist. This is individual work I made just for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super important.
Photos. Like we haven't said that enough.
Always try to have the best photos. And,
yeah.
And it should go without saying at this point, but use social media. Like I said, there are going to be all kinds of eyes. People are, in their house. They're now accustomed to doing everything on their phone. Make sure that your website, if you have one, or anything that you post is mobile friendly. The majority of people, when we look at the statistics, 75% on a phone, 25% on a desktop or an iPad. So make sure that you're doing everything that looks as good mobile on a mobile device as it does on a desktop.
Yeah. This next one goes back to the sales projections. You just want to make sure that you have the stock you need to have, that you're going to be able to keep your stock fresh, and that, you're always monitoring your shop. That we assume if you're going to put this kind of work into it, you're going to be monitoring your shop, but you just don't want to let things, you try to stay organized. Don't let things fall through the crack. And, keep in mind, there's, the reason for doing all of this is that holiday shoppers become ongoing shoppers. I mean, once you've got someone to buy one of your items, there's a very good likelihood they're going to buy another and buy more. So, be sure you're looking at this as a long-term investment.
Exactly. Which just to reiterate what Kathy said about being responsive, I just read a statistic today that 65% of people gauge their second purchase from a company or an individual based on their responsiveness to any questions or feedback, or updates, shipping updates. It left my house today. You should expect it on X day. People love that, and that is really a loyalty builder. So, obviously they're going to love your piece, but we want them to love the process of getting your piece as well. And that's what really leads to loyalty and long-term. And to Kathy's point, we want to help make sure that these customers are loyal, and this isn't just a holiday thing. With that in mind, another fun fact, the week after Christmas, the week between Christmas and New Year's, has become, over the past probably 5 or 6 years, the second largest purchasing week of the entire holiday season. So don't discount those people that didn't get what they wanted, and so they're going to buy it for themselves, or got a gift card, or online or on Instagram because they're returning something that they did get and they're looking for something else. And that is predicted this year to continue through January.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, very interesting. So we're going to segue now into like a couple of ideas for some promotional strategies you can use. One thing is reach out to existing customers. If you have an email base, you should absolutely be sending out an email to people, letting them know what you've got cooking for the holidays. But we can go a lot further than that. There are ways you can bundle things. Like, here are some ideas. I'm stumbling on words, excuse me, but bundle things that are like, how like when you go to a lot of websites now, they'll say customers often buy this with this or this. So, you might want to show them that these things go together and they make a great gift together, or they make a great gift for you, a friend, and a family member, and you could offer discounts for buying things together. Um, and, so you price them a little bit lower and incentivize the sale. Um, Liz, you want to fill in more on that? You probably have a lot to contribute to that.
Yeah, I think that the showing things, depending on what your work is, if it's paintings and there are two paintings that you envisioned as a series and that you would love to see hung together, I mean, showing them individual and then together is a great way to do that and plant that seed. Obviously, with some mediums it's easier than others. With jewelry, it's very common to see like a necklace and earrings and bracelet, or those kind of combos. With ceramics, it might be a set of dishes, it might be multiple mugs, it might be some combination of like a housewarming gift. And so this is a great set of things to give somebody as like a specific, like when I was in retail, we used to do a checklist that we would hand out to our customers that was basically a list of all the people that they probably needed to buy for. So it was nannies and the relatives and your boss, and like just this whole sort of, again, planting the seed of, oh, don't forget, you're going to, might be a little bit more of a challenge this year because you're probably not going to a party where you're going to have a hostess gift, but you could, if you have somebody that you see all the time on Zoom and you're not going to get to see them at your regular holiday party, maybe you send them something special because you want them to know you're thinking of them. So having those kind of fun little things where it's a reminder that this is my poor kid's teacher has had a year and a half, and I am going to give her something more than a bar of soap this year. I'm going to give her something great for all the torture of trying to teach kindergartners over
Good point.
Zoom or whatever.
Yeah, somebody who works in the healthcare field, and so that's a great thing for some marketing. The other thing is to just simply offer some stuff at discount. If this is last year's products or products you still have from 5 years ago, maybe you want to give people 10 to 20% off on certain items. I mean, now is the time to ask yourself if there is some sort of promotional incentive that you can offer to people that you'd be comfortable with, and sort of get the wheels moving. The 2-for-1 kind of idea, and you can keep your brand new stuff at your top prices, and you don't have to tell people this is old merchant. Just say, I just have select items on sale.
One of the things I was going to say earlier, and I got off track, is that when we send out the calendar, we're going to include January, because the follow-up after holiday is actually really important as well. So maybe what Kathy's suggesting is you want to see how things go and you don't want to discount anything. The day after or the week after Christmas is traditionally when people, go online and everything is on sale. So if you have something that you've pre-planned for that, maybe it's something that's not your favorite, or something that didn't move the way that you thought it would, to have that plan already in place. Whatever's left in this series is going to be, discounted, or, some kind of an auction day or whatever after Christmas. That's really good. And also just to be really mindful of not unveiling your entire hand. Like in your Thanksgiving preview, you want to have something like mid-December or the second week in December to pop up and like all new, just released, brand new series, holiday only, this week only, something like that. So again, you're reinforcing that call to action so that people are really knowing that it's time sensitive and that they have to mark their calendar and be online the minute that it goes up so that they don't miss it.
I'm smiling because I have such a hard time with that. I always want to post something the minute I finished it, or then if I get like a collection of work, I just want to post them all right away. And I keep telling myself, no, it's better to wait. It's better to wait. And it's really torture for me to do that.
Something needs to be a secret.
No. So in conclusion here,
Yes.
this is kind of probably, it may seem obvious, but I think it's important to keep in mind is why people want to shop from local artists.
Yes.
And, one of them is competitive pricing. They'll feel that for a quality item, customer service they assume they'll get from someone in their community, shared values, very important. You feel that you're expecting personal treatment, and you expect that they're going to sort of have closer values and interests to what you feel. People feel good about investing money in their community. They like relatability, uniqueness, and they like that something's at their fingertips. But people really do love supporting local artists if they can find you. And we're getting our slideshow.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Okay.
Not to share.
Art is too important not to share, and that is true. People love the story behind their art. Oh my God, if you go into a person's house who collects art, they will talk on and on about where they found that art and the artist and stuff like that. So they love to get to know you. They love to feel a connection. And, obviously the lowest hanging fruit is your neighbors, here in the community. Liz?
Yes, exactly. And I think that, Kathy said it and we've talked about it in other sessions, but the thing that everyone being confined to home has really reinforced, I guess a couple things, is that connections to people are very, very important, and maybe we took them for granted before, and that you want your home to be a haven, and you want it to be someplace where you're surrounded by things that you love, and art is a huge part of that. And I think that this holiday, at least my prediction is that this holiday is going to be more about personalized gift giving and really thoughtful gifts, maybe fewer, but maybe more meaningful than past holidays have been. It's not going to be about, this is maybe me dreaming. I'm just come along on the dream with me for a minute. This is not going to be about rushing to get a bigger TV the day after Thanksgiving. This is going to be about thinking about the people that you love and care about and wish that you could have spent the last 8 months seeing in person, and getting something for those people that they're going to cherish. And I don't think a lot of people cherish flat screen TVs.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Liz. I know for myself, as I'm thinking about the holidays approaching, I find myself thinking much more about like, what can I get that's unique, one of a kind, that really feels like a personal thought. One last thing I want to mention is, as far as the art shop on Evanston Main is concerned, as soon as I get over the hump of Makers Market, I'm going to be focusing on getting the shop spruced up for the holidays. And we would love to have work that feels very Evanston centric, Evanston themed. I mean, I'm in the process right now of doing a bunch of gouaches that are all Evanston scenes for a little event we're having over at the Graduate Hotels, but anything that doesn't sell there is going to be going into the shop, and I may end up doing more. So if you have an interest, if you already have products that are Evanston related, I would love to, I would love to build an Evanston shop specifically for the holidays.
Yeah. And on that note, Kathy is going to be doing a how to become your own art shop vendor tutorial on the 29th of this month, which we'll post everywhere, so that you can upload your own goodies to the art shop and make edits and changes whenever you need to, instead of running through the series of emails and having Kathy have to do all the work.
So, I mean, I know a lot of people would like to be in control of their products more. And honestly, it's really not that hard to learn, and we're going to create like a PDF document that, you know, after the presentation, my husband's going to be on this with me, that after the presentation you can download this and use, you know, step by step, you know, help until you get the hang of it.
Yeah. And that way there's no hesitation if you want to change the copy on something or change a price or remove something or whatever. There's no guilt involved. You just go in and do it. It's awesome.
You can do it at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
All right. I think we did it.
I think we did too. I hope it recorded.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Don't tell me if it didn't.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks.
Thanks.
Talk
Hope
to
to
you
see
guys
you
later.
soon. Bye.
Bye. Okay.